The saga between Brandon Aiyuk and the San Francisco 49ers took yet again another dramatic turn as the two seemingly are at odds through the media yet again. Obviously, with the situation with the expectations of Brandon Aiyuk practicing, then not practicing, and the stir that created was, again, an interesting thing to see play out. But here we are, and now we have to deal with it. So, it's always interesting to get insight from people like Adam Schefter, who is in the business of breaking news, in the business of player transactions, trades, contracts. So he knows how this works. He understands uh, the business behind the scenes that a lot of fans don't, because they don't sign up for that. They sign up for play on the field. So when trying to understand and get some clarity about the situation, a guy like Adam Schefter is actually a great source because he can provide context that a lot of others can't. So when he joins the Pat McAfee show to talk about this situation with the San Francisco 49ers, he references it as basically something that he's really never seen before. So we've been talking about it that way. It's nice to hear someone like Adam feels the same way. But I mean, take a listen to what he has to say. And I think it's safe to say no one knows what's going to happen.
Which leads to John Lynch saying this yesterday about Aiyuk not being at practice.
Was it communicated to Brandon's camp at any point, say in the last few weeks, that he would be expected to practice starting?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into our communication again, but there's, at some point you got to play.
Okay, so at some point you got to play. Rubber meets the road. There's fines that are happening. Feels like most people that have been in these positions to decide if somebody's on the team or roster manipulation or handling any of that, they're like, yo, come on. Like, this has been a song and dance, but let's go ahead and move along here. Then you see what the Cleveland Browns just did with Deshaun Watson's contract, where they free up $35 million, and now they have $62 million in cap space by doing some salary cap gymnastics by signing some of his guaranteed $230 million deal, biggest of all time still to this day, and make it a signing bonus so you can kick that thing down the road throughout the rest of the contract, which makes you think, wait a minute, seems like Lynch is about tired of it. Mm-hmm. Cleveland Browns were in it at one point.
For sure.
Then they were considered out of it. That sounds very similar to what happened with the Deshaun Watson situation with the Cleveland Browns, where they were considered in it, then they were considered way out of it, and then they came all the way back in with a heavy offer to make it take place. Is this all? Joining us now is a man who might know. Senior NFL insider for ESPN, Michigan man, Adam Schefter.
Yeah.
Shefty,
tell me what's going on.
Shefty, am I doing too much of this? Am I doing too much of this? I know you just watched what just took place. Cleveland opens up a lot of money right before the season starts. Why would they do that unless they were trying to make a signing or bring somebody in? What are your thoughts on it, and should I be linking this all together?
Well, let me say this. With Brandon Aiyuk, nothing ever seems to be what it appears to be, right? On Thursday, August 1st, I thought a trade to Cleveland was happening and was imminent, and then it didn't get done. And so the holdup with Cleveland all along hasn't been whether or not the Browns have cap space. The holdup there has been Brandon Aiyuk's willingness to accept a trade to Cleveland.
Big money.
The contract would have been done there if he wanted to go. The compensation would have been done there if he wanted to go. He's balked at going to Cleveland in the past. Now, could he change his mind today, in the next week? Anything's possible here, because I would venture to tell you that there's never been a case as unpredictable as the one that has gone on this summer between the 49ers and Brandon Aiyuk. At various points dating back to before training camp, the 49ers thought they had a deal with Brandon Aiyuk, and they didn't. They thought there was a trade with the Cleveland Browns, and then there wasn't. A trade with New England was coming together until it wasn't. A trade with Pittsburgh was going to happen until it didn't. He was re-signing with the 49ers after meeting with them until he didn't. He was going to be traded again until he wasn't. Now, he was going to practice yesterday until he didn't, until he ghosted him. So, how many people have been out there also pointing out that trades with teams are done? Like, at various points, I've heard he's going to Pittsburgh. I've heard he's going to Cleveland. Has anything gotten done yet? No. All of a sudden, at some point, when Mike Lombardi's saying the rubber meets the road, yes, when we were on Monday here, we're saying this becomes a critical week for all sides to get together to push to make something happen. It doesn't mean it's going to be resolved, but there certainly were going to be renewed efforts this week with CeeDee Lamb, which got done, with Jamar Chase, which seemed to be going the right way until yesterday, with Brandon Aiyuk, which continues to be a situation that has been a stalemate, with Trent Williams, which hasn't been a lot of progress so far, and with Hassan Reddick, which also a stalemate with not a lot of progress so far. But that's not for a lack of effort this week from teams and trying to make something happen, knowing that the regular season's opening 1 week from tonight.
Which is awesome. Yeah, we are all happy about it. It's very good news. But it is deadlines normally bring compromises and agreements in this entire thing. And we kind of thought maybe the Commanders, whenever they traded Dotson for a third rounder, maybe they were trying to load up a third rounder.
Commanders are not in.
Got it. Commanders not in. Obviously, deal didn't happen. Then I see the Browns open up this money, and I think to myself, with the Deshaun Watson situation, remember Deshaun wasn't going to Cleveland. He balked at going to Cleveland. That has not taken place. Then they come in with the biggest contract guarantee in the history, Mulligeta. Hey,
Dog.
absolute dog, Mulligeta. But he comes in over the top, $230 million guarantee, and all of a sudden Deshaun Watson's like, I'm not going to Cleveland. I'm not going to Cleveland. I'm not going to Cleveland. And then it's $230 million guarantee. Can't fucking wait to get to Cleveland.
Let's go.
You know?
Right.
So did the Browns free up this money so that they can still have a good amount of money to use during the season? But maybe they are going to make him one of the highest paid guys. And if he becomes one of the highest paid guys all of a sudden, does that make him change his tune going to Cleveland? Like, is there no? Okay. No.
It hasn't today. It hasn't. They already were offering more money than Pittsburgh, more money than San Francisco. They were offering a lot. That wasn't the issue.
Got it.
The issue simply was that he preferred to go elsewhere.
So what do they
And
open
it
up all this
hasn't-
money for then? Trent?
Well, they opened it up knowing that they have business to do at the start of the new league year next year and to have that flexibility. And again, I don't ever rule out that Brandon Aiyuk couldn't change his mind today, but I haven't heard that he is. Like, if I heard today that he was being traded with Cleveland, would it shock me? It would surprise me. But in this particular situation, nothing has been what you thought it would be. Nothing.
It's like,
So it's hard to predict. But I don't think, to answer your question, I don't think the Browns opened up that cap space with the idea that we are getting close to making a trade for Deshaun. I could be wrong, but I don't believe that to be the case.
Okay. We will keep an eye on it, obviously. In the Aiyuk situation, he's certainly awesome because the Niners seemingly have to deal with this every offseason, something like this. And then inevitably they get it worked out. And then inevitably they're all the way around to the end.
Yep.
And then if they don't win a Super Bowl, people say there's a lot of complaining for a team that doesn't win a Super Bowl. It's like, they are. It is not easy to win a Super Bowl. They are such a dominant team, such a great team. Hopefully they'll be able to figure it out.
Adam Schefter's just like us. We all thought at one point, at one time, it was going to be a trade. It was going to be a sign. It's crazy. This is honestly a situation that is unprecedented. We've talked about it many times. There's so many situations that are happening right now that we haven't seen before. So, and all in the backdrop, you have Trent Williams not really being discussed because all the focus is on Brandon Aiyuk right now. But as you heard from Schefter, he's basically saying, yeah, there's not much progress with Trent Williams either. So I was talking about it on the live because the 49ers are basically preparing for week one against the Jets. I think fans have to start preparing that way as well. And you have to start changing your mindset from when Trent and BA will show up to we're going to assume almost at this point that Trent and BA aren't going to be on the field week one because time is running out. Really, if neither of these guys are in the building ready to practice by Wednesday of next week, I would find it very challenging to see these guys get on the field. Again, anything can happen, right? They could theoretically, sign on Saturday and get them in the game on Sunday. That seems a little sketch, but it could be a possibility. I just know that something's got to pop soon. Like we're in that crucial hour, like where obviously I feel like the 49ers doing what they did yesterday was an indication that they're ready to have some finality to this situation. So whether good or bad regarding BA and Trent, we don't really know. But it does feel like decisions are going to be made here very soon. So let me know what you think about what Adam Schefter had to say. Let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.